Well, hey, it's good Sunday afternoon, everyone. I wasn't sure if I was quite ready to turn on the live, but here we are, and I am making meatloaf. This is a Bobby Flay recipe that I kind of switch it up a little bit because some of his spices are not my favorite. But first, don't you love my little shirt? I got this from Amazon. It was $9. It's just one of those mess around the house, work in the yard little t-shirts, but I just thought it was fun. All right, especially today I've been planting zinnia seeds. So I wanted to show you, I cooked part of the meatloaf first because I wanted you to see it and see this part of the process. And then I'm gonna put it back in the oven. So here it is. I've made 3 little, they're pretty much 1/3 pound meatloaf, all right? And I'm gonna tell you about that in a minute. And then I'm going to, hang with me, I gotta find something here. You know me, I always gotta find something. Nope, not here, not here. Okay, I'm finding my little, this is very important. So I've let this meatloaf cook for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna put the glaze on the top. Let me just do it like this. So this is ketchup, balsamic glaze, and red pepper flakes. And this is, you know, when I first cooked this meatloaf years ago was the first time I had ever used red pepper flakes. And so I thought, okay, well, and they were so delicious. They are hot. They are hot, but they're not too hot if you don't put too many. So I'm gonna put that back in the oven. I just wanted you to see, and you see all of this around it? That's the juice out of it. It's not the fat. It's juice. There is some fat, of course, in there because this is 93.7 hamburger meat. But I'm just going to put it back in there and let it cook about, I'm going to say 8 minutes. And that's on 425. And now I'm going to show you how I made the meatloaf, all right? So it's a little bit of a process, but I think it's very worth it. All right, so what I've got here, that was a pound, all right? I've got 2 more pounds of ground beef. This is organic grass-fed beef. And okay, so what's over here? Let me bring you over here and show you what's over here. So this is, of course, my food processor. And what I've got in here is 1 zucchini, not a huge zucchini, but a zucchini, a yellow pepper, and an orange pepper. I didn't have a red pepper. It called for a red pepper. I think either one would work, but if I had a red pepper, no green pepper. That's a totally different taste. There are 4 garlic cloves, okay, whole big cloves. Get you some of this good organic garlic from Amazon. I mean, not Amazon, Walmart, but do not use the core, okay? Well, let me just show you. I think I want to just show you right here. All right, okay, so when you take this out of this little bag, look at this little thing. I want to show you this. So this is my little garlic holder. Isn't that cute? I saw this on, I think I got it online, and I thought, I want that. So the big one is for potatoes, the little one's for garlic. Well, I don't do potatoes, so I just use one. And then there's one even smaller that you could put, I don't know, whatever you want to in it. But it hangs right here over my stove. Just like that, and that's where I keep my garlic. Okay, you could put, I don't know, what else could you put in there? I don't know, I can't think of anything. All right, so let me just show you how I do my garlic. And I just love fresh garlic. Now this one is a red one. I wasn't expecting that, but they are that way sometime. All right, so can you see me? Yes. So I put my knife down, so I've got 1 bulb out here. Now this is how you get the, what do you call it? The leaves off the outside, or the shell, or the whatever you call it. I'm just gonna pop it down like that, and that smashes it, and that brings out all the goodness. But that little core, I think maybe you didn't see it. I'll do another one. But that's gonna make all that leafy stuff, let me get it where you can see it, fall out. And that's gonna go in the trash. And the nice thing about having my little trash can here is I just open it up and squirt it right out. So that's all good piece of garlic right there. Awesome. In fact, I'm not gonna waste it. I'm gonna put it in this mixture I got over here. I'm gonna chip it up a little finer though. So there we go. So this is a clean countertop here, so don't freak out about it. The other day, somebody, she was like, I could never eat that woman's food. She mixed up that hamburger and didn't wash her hands. Well, I wiped my hands off very diligently with a paper towel, and then I did wash them. But my family is probably the healthiest as far as we don't get stuff, so I think you need to be careful. I'm not saying that, but all right, so I'm going to pull that off. All right, you see, I'm going to lay that garlic down on its side like that, and I'm just going to pop it with the heel of my hand, and then I'm going to cut that hard core right there. I'm going to cut that off, all right, because I don't want that. I don't want to eat that. Now, sometimes that core will get, like you see that there, it goes down into the garlic, so I will pull that whole core out, especially if it's green, because it's not going to have a good taste. So I pull that core out and leave the onion. The onion will have that same kind of thing. Yeah. So let me just chip this up so I can put it in there. And then I just come back here and scrape it right off into the trash can. Now, of course, I'm going to have to wash my hands after this garlic because it has a very strong flavor. But let me chip this up and put it in here. Nobody wants to get a big hunk of garlic in their mouth, but nobody wants to miss the garlic either, or at least nobody in my family. So I'm going to, yeah, that's all good. All right, so let me finish telling you. Let me back over here and wash my hands. Now, a very good way to get garlic off your hands is to put salt on them, wet them just a little bit, and rub it together, just like that. That will take the garlic smell off your hand. You may have to do it a couple of times if it's really good garlic, but just like that. That just pulls it right out. And I don't mind the garlic smell too much, but you don't want to go to church with your hands smelling like garlic. All right, so what I got here, I'm going to start all over. So here we go. All right, so I do have 4 garlic bulbs, just like that. Well, now there's 6, but that's never too much. The yellow pepper, the zucchini, the orange pepper, the ketchup, so a half a cup of ketchup. And I'm going to put all this in the recipe, and I'm going to put it on Facebook, in an email, okay? About a half a teaspoon of red chili pepper, crushed chili pepper flakes, a half a cup of almond flour, and 2 eggs, okay? No, actually 4 eggs, because this was I'm using 2 pounds of hamburger meat. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take that off, and some balsamic glaze, but you'll get all that in the recipe, so don't try to, don't say, oh, what's the recipe? I'm gonna send the recipe out in an email. I will never put recipes on here, just because I'm not gonna sit and type that out. I just don't have, I'm not going to say I don't have the patience. I just don't have the, well, maybe it's patience. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I just feel like now I will type it out and send it to you in an email. And trust me, that is a labor of love. All right. So you see how that's real juicy. Let me get you where you can see me. All right. You can see me now. All right. So I'm just going to mix this in. And you saw those other, so occasionally you'll find a big piece of pepper that maybe, or the last one had a piece of zucchini. I'm like, nobody's going to care if they get a piece of pepper, but I'm going to take it and so you see all that zucchini in there? But that roasted zucchini is what's going to make this, that's a piece of garlic. Let me just cut that up a little bit. That's going to make it moist. That's what makes this meatloaf so moist. So you see over here, I've got my pan with my parchment paper. All right, let me break that up a little bit. Okay, and of course, salt and pepper's in here. Definitely have salt and pepper. And I put some thyme. It called for fresh thyme, but I don't have that, and they don't have that at the grocery stores where I go usually. So I put thyme, I put Italian seasoning, I put, let's see, what else did I put? I put basil, But really the Italian seasoning has a lot of that. I did not put rosemary. That's a little strong to me. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do this into small little meatloaves. Now what you think, why are you making it so small? Well, the reason is that they cook quicker. And then you're done. So all right, I gotta wipe my hands off here a little bit. And I'm gonna use a clean paper towel to open up the stove so I can check on this. Let me move you back a little bit so I can open up the stove. Here we go. And that is gonna be done. So I wanted you to see it as it cooks. And then what you see is it's got a lot of juice around it. Don't pour that off. After you let that sit for a little while, it's gonna soak back up into the meatloaf. So let me turn this timer off. So let me just move this over here out of the way. I'm gonna put it right on top of that. And I'll show you in a little bit how it reabsorbs that juice into it. So I've got one, let me swap so you can see. I've got one little meatloaf going here, and you see they're not thick. I don't like them thick. I like the more brown and less middle. So you make it like you want it, okay? If you want them thicker, then make them thicker. Bobby Flay's recipe calls for panko crumbs, but I found breadcrumbs work just as good. And not breadcrumbs, almond flour. Almond flour works just as good. Yeah. So there we go. So you see I'm just making them kind of small. And then I'm going to come back and poke holes in them. That's just to let them cook through and through. But I got a bunch to make up here, y'all. So I need some help. You see there's a big piece of, not a big piece, but a larger piece of. So I want to get all that goodness in there. You don't want to miss any of this. So you think, well, you're going to have meatloaves for days. Well, James will eat 2 of these a day. I mean, and I'll eat 1 and probably 2 on a day that I'm working out. You know, that's going to be like 2/3 pound of hamburger meat. Probably about 60 grams of protein, which is, you know, a good amount. Let me scoot that down that way a little bit. I may am going to need this other. I may just be able to get 5 on here. That's okay. You know, you bloom where you planted. Yeah, here we go. I really kind of like make it in a serving size because before when I've never done this before, make it in these really small ones. But before when I would do it, it would be almost a serving size, but a little too much. And then, you know, you'd have to put that up in the refrigerator or put that up later. But now this, I think we're going to be able to just have it 1 serving. And then if I need to, I can put it in the freezer if we don't eat it. We are going out of town this week, down to Sarasota. Anybody live in Sarasota? Yeah. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Linda. Hey, Charlotte and Caroline and Lula Mae. And that's all I can see right now. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to poke them. You don't want to squish it and handle it too much because then it gets too, you know, you make it too tight. All right, so let me get let me get a clean paper towel here. And I'm going to put this in the oven and turn it on. I'm going to cook these about, the last ones I cooked 15 minutes and that worked okay. Let me do my timer, 15. Okay. So now I'm going to bring you back over here. Well, let me just bring them back over here. All right. So you see a lot of that juice has soaked back into it, and even more of it will, but that really is I can look at it and tell. A lot of what you're seeing there is fat. So, yeah. You know what, I just realized I forgot something in this recipe. That's why I want you to get it in the email. I forgot to put the Parmesan cheese in. Here it is right here. I'm going to dump it in. It's going to go in those last ones, okay? Nobody will ever know. James won't ever know. So here's what I did over here. And I want to encourage you to do this. And I know, you know, it's funny me saying this. Let me wash my hands. Me saying this, but, You know, I don't always do this, but it's definitely a good thing to do, to grate your own cheese. And here's why. I'm about to show you why. When you look at this grated cheese and what it's got in it, it's got powdered cellulose. It's got, well, that's the only thing. I think the better quality Parmesan cheese is going to have less in it. But when you buy I bought this in a block, it's going to have Parmesan cheese, which is what you want. And I'm going to show you something. Here we go. As I turn this on, it goes to work. I can smell it. I can smell that Parmesan cheese, which means if it smells better, it's going to taste better. I can smell it right here. I'm going to keep going to that. All right. This little attachment that goes on my what is this called? KitchenAid. Yeah, is neat. I like it. So there you go. That's about a cup of Parmesan cheese. So there was a rind on that thing. I mean, I probably could have used a little bit more of that, but I cut that off, and whoa, that smells so good. So I already put the other half in there. So I'm going to dump this out of this bowl, and then I'm going to, I guess you can't see me, but then I'm going to do, I bought a block, oops, you got to have the little grater thing in there. And this comes with these different little size grates, but I kind of like to do it, all right, what's wrong with you? There you go. I kind of like to do it fine. Don't you? Do you like it fine? I like it fine. Let's see, who else we got on here? Pat, I got Wanda, I got Linda, I got Sue. Let's see. Hey, Sue, good to see you. All right, let's see. There's Jane and Linda. Where are all y'all from? I just got to know. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to see how quick and easy this is. Now, I don't know how you would blend yours, so you do kind of have to be careful. So I'm going to turn this on. Now, if your cheese is cooler, like I usually try to freeze it for a little bit before I do this. And you know, if you turn it on higher, it just goes faster, but it kind of scares me a little bit. I just kind of reach my fingers in there and pull it out. And there we go. You see, I mean, literally, that didn't even take a minute. Now I'm going to do this other one. And it's just, I smell that cheese. It smells so much better. When you open a package, plus it's in plastic, when you open a package of grated cheese, you don't smell it. I mean, it does smell, but it doesn't smell like this. And I always buy sharp cheddar, you know. And especially if you've got a Trader Joe's in your area, whoa, their cheeses are so good. A lot of times they're, you know, you can get them from their Ireland or whatever. Oops, that wasn't a good move. Okay, so let me take this out. And you see I got some chunk. Now this is going to make, what is this going to make? This is going to make some good pimento cheese. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. I got some good organic celery. It's going to be delicious. All right, so let me plate up a little bit of this meatloaf so you can see it. So I'm going to show out a little bit. This is my plate from Italy. Italy, I want to go back to Italy. We went a couple years ago, James and I, and we had the most wonderful time. And this was, I got this, I believe, in Positano. I believe so, yeah. I think I did. Yeah, Positano. Absolute Ceramica, that was the name of the place. And I bought 2 plates and 2 bowls. That's really all I could afford. But let me just spin you around here and show you. All right, so here we go. And you see a lot of that juice is already absorbed up in there. So don't you love it when I eat right in front of you? But I do want to taste it because I got, if it needs more salt, I want to put it in that little bit right there. No, that is perfect. Oh my gosh. That's so good. James is going to love that. No onion, no green pepper. So if you don't like onion or green pepper, I do like onion and green pepper, but I don't really like it in my meatloaf. Okay. I'll tell you how I like green pepper. I like it in a chicken Mexican dish, you know, or I like it. There is a recipe. All right, I'm going to talk to you just a minute while that's cooking. There's a recipe. We call it Ma Betty salad. So Ma Betty was my grandmother. She was born in 1901, and she was the hardest working woman, the strongest woman I've ever known. I never knew her to sin, and I lived with her most summers and most Christmas breaks because I had 4 brothers, and I didn't want to stay on the farm with them. I wanted to go to Atlanta and stay with her because she took me shopping every day. And we sewed, and we canned, and we went to the farmer's market, and we went to Rich's and Davison's. If any of y'all are from the Atlanta area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She would wear her fine dress and her gloves, and she would dress me up too in my little hats or whatever. Regenstein's, J.P. Allen's, anybody know those stores? Hit the love button if you recognize those. Yes, so hey Lisa, I'm going to give out the meatloaf recipe. It will be in the email tomorrow. So if I don't have your email, you won't get it. So I want you to, you got to get on my email. That's just how I can communicate. I can't sit down and type emails on this Facebook page. And by the way, these go away after 30 days unless I download them and upload them to YouTube. So I've got all my recipes are on YouTube. If there's one of them you want, like, for instance, salmon croquettes, if you go to Dr. Nancy Stanley on YouTube and type in, what did I just say? Salmon croquettes, pops up a video just like this, probably from 5 or 6 years ago, because I've been doing this a long time. Okay, so what was I talking about? Okay, I lived with her, and I never knew her to sin. What was I going to tell you about? Somebody help me. I had a lapse. Okay, anyway, I stayed with her, never knew her to sin. What was I going to say? Oh, her salad, Ma Betty salad. So we had the homecoming up at the church up here when we would have it. It was cracker salad is what it was. So a tube of saltines, you can write this down, a tube of saltines, a half of a large bell pepper. If it's a small bell pepper, you can use a whole one. And she would say, you chip it up fine. You chip it up fine. And then she would put a medium-sized tomato, and a good tomato is going to be much better than a terrible tomato. And she would chip that up, and that's it. And then mayonnaise. So she would take it to the homecoming. So you can't stir it up beforehand because it gets soft and gushy. So she would take the tube of I've seen it so many times, her little daisy trail for their 50th anniversary. She got that daisy dishes, and she would put it in that little bowl. I think I still have that little bowl, okay? And she would chip up the pepper and tomato and have that in the bowl, covered up. And the mayonnaise, she would go ahead and put the mayonnaise in there. And then she would add the saltines right before it was time to eat. And my kids today say, Mama, will you make some cracker salad? So, and of course, salt and pepper. You got to put salt and pepper on it. But it's delicious. So I hope you'll maybe try that recipe. It's not too optimal because saltines are definitely not optimal. Hey, Catherine, the recipe, I'm gonna give it to you in the email. So if I don't have your email, I need to get it. So, hey, I see your, Lisa, I see your email. I'm gonna give you a link, and that'll show you how to put your email into my server, so you'll get it. So this has got 5 more minutes for this, these second meatloaves to cook. But that's it for today, folks. I'm getting ready to go to the movie. I'm gonna go see that I Can Only Imagine. Somebody said it was really, really good. Have y'all seen it? I hope so, because I haven't been to a movie in so many years. I've probably been to 5 movies in the last 20 years. My husband's like, I don't even know the actors. I don't know anybody. We were in New York City. I was at a conference up there, and we were staying at what was that name of that place? Not the Trump Tower, but the Soho, yeah, or up in Soho. I'm not sure. I'm not too much into all that naming things and knowing what the bougie is, you know. In fact, I didn't even know what that word was until my daughter told me. But anyway, I'm kind of in the dark because I don't watch TV and I don't watch movies, but that's okay. Well, I think maybe y'all are in the dark. I'm in the light. Anyway, I just had to say that. But anyway, and we were, now I can't even think of his name. Okay, yeah, I thought of it. So my husband comes, he was in the lobby and I was, standing outside, and he came out there. He said, guess who I just met? I said, who? He said, Ryan Gosling. He said, but you don't even know who that is, do you? I said, I really don't. But he called my daughter and told her he had just met Ryan Gosling. So he does love movies, and that's okay. All right. So you know what we were talking about in bed? I'm fixing to get off here, I promise. Here's what we were talking about in bed. We were laying in bed last night. I said, somehow it came up about the talking horse, Mr. Ed. I said, you know, I love that show. And I started naming shows that I loved. I said, I loved Lassie. Okay, so I was born in 56, all right? I love Lassie. My children love Lassie. I love Barney Fife. He named a few. He named the Wild Wild West. And I'm like, I don't even remember seeing that, Jane. He said, I can imagine. He said, you don't like silly stuff. I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't. Now, I did like Bewitched. I did like that. That daring guy, he cracked me up. And I did like the Clampetts, Beverly Hillbillies. Put in here, what was your favorite show? Yeah. But what was your favorite show back then? And they were all good. And if I showed them to my grandchildren right now, they would like them. But the stuff, there's just nothing there. Nobody's making any. I mean, there are some good movies. I'm going to see one tonight, I hope, or today. But anyway, that's enough of my story, enough of me rambling on. But I love to talk to y'all, and I hope you're encouraged by some of the things I say. And I hope you're making space for joy in your life. Just open up your heart and let the Holy Spirit just fill you with joy in spite of the circumstances, okay? Y'all have a great day.